because this is our personal opinion, I'm going to tell you what videos I like best. Number one, I like videos where whoever is hosting the hangout, they show up sober. Hi everyone, Cherry Vintage from cherryvintage.com. I'm out doing a little picking today, and I thought I'd just take a break and stop by this river here and answer the 15 questions from Anne's picker tag from See Anne Save. So here's my answers. Number one, how long have you been a picker? I've been a picker for 12 years. The first few years I sold at flea markets and just sold locally. And then about 7 years ago I started selling part-time on eBay, and now I'm trying to do it full-time. Do I like the term picker, or do you prefer to be called something else? You know what? I love being called a picker. I don't care what anybody says. I love it. And where I live, it doesn't have a bad meaning. It means somebody who selects things, somebody who can find the treasure. It's not like, I don't know where it is that it means like you're picking in the trash. And you know what? Even if you pick in the trash, the way I look at it is that you are making the best out of the things that God has given us, that you're salvaging things that people throw away and that they don't find the value in, and they obviously don't find the money in. So, I don't know, to be a picker is to be a person who's pretty clever and resourceful. That's the way I look at it. Where do you sell your items? I sell my items on eBay currently, because eBay just brings in the most money, and for vintage clothing it does, and for vintage collectibles it just is the best place on the web currently, and it just has been that way for as long as I've been selling. Could that change? Maybe, but I doubt it. It's just the number one place with the most traffic where you're going to get able to get the best prices, better than even having your own website. I know some people will argue with me, but hey, it's the fact. It's the fact. Do you have a business name? Number 5, do you have a business name? And if so, how did you choose it? Yep, Cherry Vintage. How did I choose it? Well, when I started, as I said, I started selling at flea markets. And one guy there could never remember my name. So he called me Cherry because my hair is red, like auburn red. Now it's blonde, obviously. But I guess that stuck. Other people started calling me that instead of my real name. That just became my nickname. And I don't mind. I like that name, Cherry, because vintage, like in the 50s, cherry was a good slang word. It meant something is the best of the best, or something's cool. Okay, number 6. Where do you go picking at? I go to estate sales, online auctions, regular auctions, thrifts, antique fairs, group sales. I don't do garage sales so much, not because I don't like them, but just because it sucks up so much gas. And there really is a lot to me. It takes a lot of time getting in the car, getting out of the car, going. I like where you go to one place, and it's a little bit more like one-stop shopping. But if the garage sales are not out of my way, yeah, I'd do some garage sales. But it also, too, it seems like based on what I sell, which I usually do sell mostly vintage antiques, you need to be in the neighborhoods that are super old, and there's not that many around here that aren't already picked over. Number 7, what items do you like to pick and sell best? I like best, obviously, what I know the most about, which is vintage clothing, accessories, vintage jewelry, and also I'm enjoying more and learning more about vintage collectibles. And the reason why is because I love the history. I love the history of vintage clothing, vintage jewelry, and collectibles. And I love rescuing them from going to the trash or winding up in a landfill. I love even redoing them, fixing them up, replacing parts that are damaged on clothing. I don't even mind getting the stains out, just because I like to preserve them and get them into the hands of people who are going to love them and treasure them. I enjoy that part a lot. Number 8. What has been your biggest score? For me, so far, my biggest score was an online auction, and this was like the first time I ever did an online auction. And I bought a whole theater's costume inventory. And surprisingly, it was not very expensive. And about half of the inventory was vintage clothing. Oh my gosh, it was just wonderful. But I had to go in and out of the city 4 or 5 days. The auction house was so nice to me. I had no idea it was going to be that huge just based on the online auction. So, yeah, it was kind of heaven, it was kind of hell. But man, I made a lot of money off of that, and I still have some, and I'm still able to sell off of that. Alright, number 9. Share what your biggest picking/sales nightmare. You know what? I haven't had one right now. Because I don't dwell on things. I know I'm a sensitive person. I know I can have the habit of ruminating, like just keep remembering and thinking about crap. So I worked really hard over the last 4 or 5 years not to dwell on things, because that will just bring me down. That'll make me feel depressed. So why do it? So my philosophy is, I really do bend over backwards to please my customer. The customer, this is my business model, it might not be yours, but my customer is always right. Even when they're wrong, they are right. And it worked for multimillionaire Frederick Meyer, and so far it's working for me. And yeah, I just make sure that to the best of my abilities, the transaction ends well. If I don't want to deal with that person again, I block them. I might tell other people in my network to block them because they're just a trouble customer. But I would say 98% of my customers on eBay have been really good to me, and I really appreciate that. So, the few times when things didn't go right, I don't want to make a video about it. I don't want to really talk about it. And actually, my philosophy is, when you go to bed, it's done. Because tomorrow, I have 24 hours to make some money. And if I'm thinking about the transaction that went wrong, where I made a mistake, or somebody was a real jerk to me or something, then that is sucking up my time where I can be making some money. Because you can't get your brain, at least I cannot get my brain to go in 2 directions. I can't sit and think about stuff that brought me down, bad transactions, or where I made an error and wish I would have done differently, and then also be having my brain on, let's focus on making some money today, let's focus on getting some listings, let's focus on cleaning up some vintage clothes and repairing them. You can't do both things. And people waste, just Cherry's opinion here, so much time just pissing and moaning about the few things that went wrong. And again, that's just me. Maybe some people, maybe they can do that, but if you have a problem with it, just try it. Just try letting go of it. Wait. Tell yourself, I'm going to be mad about this today, but tomorrow, next day, it's done. It's done. It's history. I don't talk about it. I don't think about it. Okay, next question is number 10. Is picking your only income, or do you have another job? Currently, this is my only income, and I'm giving myself a year to make it a better income, to work towards doing it full time. If not, I'm going to have to come up with some other idea. Number 11, does anyone help you with your picking business? Nope, I do this by myself. I would say, though, I give credit to my family and friends who do encourage me and do give me tips, but basically I'm doing this all by myself. Number 12, what do you use your picking money for, bills or fun? I use my money for bills first, and then I use my money for making my business grow second, and third, saving, and fun is very last, because I can have fun. I can think of many ways to have fun that doesn't cost money or cost less than $5. Okay, number 13. Who is your favorite YouTube picker? I don't have a favorite. I try to love everybody and give respect to everybody. Some people I enjoy watching their videos more than others. I mean, I have to be honest. But I can't really pick a favorite because, then somebody's going to get left out and I'll feel bad. And, every month or so I find somebody new on YouTube that I enjoy watching their videos, that I'm learning something from, or they're just entertaining or whatever. At number 14, what types of YouTube picking videos do you like the best? Hauls, sales, or educational? Alright, I want to be honest on this video, so I'm going to take this a little differently, you know. I do like the hauls, the sales, and the educational, but because this is our personal opinion, I'm going to tell you what videos I like best. Number one, I like videos where whoever is hosting the hangout, they show up sober. Okay? I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but when people have a hangout and they're at the point where they are too tipsy, you know, it's one thing if you have a beer or 2 beers, but if you've had a few beers before the show starts and then you drink 3 or 4 during the show, you know, you've got like about, what, 4 or 6 drinks under your belt, things start to get really sloppy. And people start to be treated disrespectfully, which I don't like. And I also feel like the audience is being disrespected because I think they start to get kind of self-involved. I think the people who host the show and the people who are on the show, they forget, hey, there's an audience that you would like us to show up for an hour or 2 hours or, you know, maybe the whole hangout 4 hours. Then don't forget about us. Don't get way off topic to something else. And when people get drunk, you know, they start to do different weird things. They fall asleep, they forget the camera's on, they start to argue. I guess that's the worst, when they start to argue and they start to name call. That's no good. So yeah, I think the best videos are the ones that don't start doing that. And when that happens, I usually just click out and go somewhere else and, you know, watch something else. But if you're trying to grow your business and be a professional, just one woman's opinion here, but maybe that's something to think about. You know, maybe don't show up drunk. Another point is being respectful. Watching what you say in terms of cussing. Do I cuss? Sure, I cuss. I try not to cuss on camera. A long time ago, I'll just use myself as an example so people don't feel like I'm picking on you, but I used to live in Detroit. I used to live in the really harsh ghetto of Detroit, Cass Corridor. I was very poor. And I used to say, F this, F that, F this, F that, all the time. All the time. My mouth sounded like a rapper. And when family members would comment on that, I would say, it's just words. It's just words, doesn't mean anything. But, you know, as I thought about it, no, I was raised better than that, and it makes me sound stupid. And it's disrespectful to other people. So, I'm just sharing you my thoughts with you. So, I can tell you one thing. I have family and friends around me, and I can't stay up so late to watch a lot of these videos. And I imagine there's other people like this too that can't stay up this late to watch all the hangouts, but we enjoy watching them. So when we turn them on during the day and you have kids around or other family members who don't want to hear F this and F that and all the cussing, you know, I'm going to turn that off, and then I'm probably not going to get back to watching your hangout because it's just so full of foul language. So, just a viewer giving you a little feedback. You might want to watch some of that. And I know that some people have, and I appreciate that they have. And then the last thing with some of these hangout videos, I like the ones best where they don't spend a lot of time in the private chat. I like the ones best where they don't sit and talk about pornography. I'm a woman. Yeah, I'm old. I'm super old. But I've watched some videos where the fellas will ask, geez, I wonder why there isn't many gals on. Why don't we have a lot of gal viewership? I can't speak for all women, but I think most women, most ladies, they don't want to hear that while you're putting on this show, that you're having a little private chat where you're showing each other pornography and crap, or making fun of other women or whatever. Yeah, no, not very cool, not very respectful. And I'm not a perfect person by any means. I'm not a perfect person. I would just ask other pickers in the YouTube community to think about that, you know, because I can see how maybe it feels like it's just you know, whatever, 6 of you fellas hanging out and you're making this video, but your video goes to your channel And then we, your viewers, watch it either while you're making it or in the days to follow. And, you know, really, basically, if we're here for business, right, on YouTube, and the things that we say, the things that we do reflect on us, and they reflect on our business. So I think of that. You know, I try to stay conscious of that, and I would just ask other people, you know, are you pretty conscious of that, or are you kind of not conscious of that? You know, and then at the same time, that's just my critique, my 2 cents, my feedback for you. Do with it what you want. But I realize we don't always show our best side. We're only human, and we're all imperfect, and that includes myself. So I try to make allowances for that, and, you know, I believe that God wants us to love everyone. So I try and just show the love and respect regardless. So I still subscribe, and I still try to support people. Even if I don't agree with them, and even if I don't really like how they make their videos, I can see good in them. I always can see good in everybody in the picker community. Number 15, what are your future reselling goals? I would say to continue on eBay to build up my store. At least that's for this year. Maybe in the future switch to a live model, because it seems like that if you're going to sell vintage, that's where the money's at. But that would take more time and probably another space and helpers. And then maybe even include co-ops if I get more into selling the collectibles. So thank you everyone for taking the time to watch this, and like, comment, and subscribe, please. I'll see you all soon.